DATV, and the Greater Dayton Area League of Women Voters present Meet the Candidates, your chance to learn about the candidates running for office in the November election.
Hello, I am Erin O'Brien, a member of the League of Women Voters of the Greater Dayton area. I am here with one of the candidates running for the office of Montgomery County Auditor. The term of office is 4 years and the salary for this position is $91,248. There are two candidates running for this position. Those candidates are Harry Bossy and Carl Keith. Harry Bossy, a candidate for this position, regrets that he cannot be here due to a prior commitment. We will start our interviews by having the candidate tell us about yourself and why you want to serve as a Montgomery County Auditor. You will have 2 minutes for your opening remarks.
Well, thank you very much, and let me say thank you to the League of Women Voters for providing us with this opportunity. I think I've run for office now a number of times, and this is always look forward to having this opportunity. I've been serving as Montgomery County Auditor since 2000, so this will be my fifth term running, fifth full year, 4-year term that I'm running for. This past year, I celebrated my 35th year of public service or working for Montgomery County. Actually, I've got a couple of years of service working for the state of Ohio. I worked in the State Auditor's Office prior to coming to the county. I worked 8 years in the County Treasurer's Office and been in the County Auditor's Office since 1991. I started out as the Chief Deputy and then was appointed to Auditor in 2000. So I've got the years of experience in local government finance, master's degree, and I'm a certified cash manager. So I have the qualifications to do the job, and it's a job that I love, and I'm so proud and appreciate the voters of Montgomery County have returned me to this office a number of times, and I appreciate that. It's an office with a wide range of responsibilities, and it's very challenging, but it's also very rewarding, and I've enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to continuing.
Thank you. Carl, why is the County Auditor's Office so important to the community?
Again, the auditors serve as a number of responsibilities, and I like to tell people I wear a number of different hats. I'm the county's chief fiscal officer, the county's chief assessor. I am the chief administrator for the information technology for the county. I'm an agent for the Ohio Tax Commissioner, and I'm the sealer of weights and measures. So it's a wide variety of responsibilities, and each of those responsibilities are critical to the local community. The county government's a big business. As the county's chief fiscal officer, I oversee a $2 billion organization. So paying all the county's bills, serving as the paymaster for county government, but also distributing hundreds of millions of dollars, tax dollars, to local jurisdictions, to school districts, to cities, to libraries, making sure that those dollars are properly distributed to those jurisdictions is a major responsibility. As a county's assessor, I'm charged with the responsibility of determining the county's overall property tax value, property assessments. Again, a major responsibility that establishes the financial condition for our community and impacts every homeowner and property owner in the county. And so that's something that I take very seriously and something we work very hard at as well. As the sealer of weights and measures, we're responsible for checking any device that's used in the commercial sale of goods or services that's sold by weight or measure. And so it's an important consumer protection responsibility. And in this day and age, when we have cyber criminals out there and people who are trying to take advantage of consumers through skimmers on gas pumps and those types of things, again, it's just increased the importance of that responsibility, I think. And so there's a number of responsibilities in the office, and besides all of that, we sell dog licenses. And so, again, a wide variety of responsibilities, and that's it's very challenging, but I also find it to be very rewarding.
Thank you. What do you think is the most important duty of the auditor?
Protecting tax dollars and protecting consumers. I think it really sums up all of that I just said. All of those different responsibilities really comes down to protecting our tax dollars and protecting consumers. Again, when you're talking about a $2 billion organization, thousands of transactions are flowing through that office every day. So paying bills, working with other county offices and departments to process their payments, to process their payroll. These are very important responsibilities, and the public expects us to do that in an appropriate way, and to make sure that those tax dollars are spent wisely and in accordance with the law. And so that's, our responsibility is to make sure that that happens and that we stay within budgets. And so that, again, a very important responsibility. But on top of that, determining the value of someone's home for taxing purposes, that's very personal to people. And we'd like to remind our staff, this for the person that you're dealing with, that's personal to them, and it's an important thing for the community, but it's also important for that individual. I think in all of it's pretty important. For people with the dog licenses, about 1,200 dog owners are reunited with their lost pet each year as a result of having a dog license, a properly issued dog license. So, that's responsibility we take very seriously as well. Being a dog owner myself, I know what that would mean if I lost my dog and to get it returned to me. And so having that dog license is very important to that person at the time if they ever need that.
Thank you. And what factors do you think should be taken into consideration when setting the value of real estate?
Well, determining the value of real estate is a complicated business, and we do have to follow state guidelines and professional practices. We update property values once every 3 years. We completed an update in 2017, are scheduled to do our next update in 2020. So the important thing when we're doing any type of update is to look at what's happening in the real estate market. When we're setting values, we're setting those values based upon what we consider to be an estimate of that property's market value, what it would sell in the open market between a willing buyer and a willing seller. Again, when it's exposed to the open market, where neither party is under any duress. So we do a lot of work looking at real estate sales. We're always doing a rear view look. We're always looking in the past. So people say, well, this is not the value of my property today. And well, I'm sure it's not, because we're always looking at the past 3 years. And so we're always running behind the market, I guess is what I'm saying. But again, the real estate market is really what sets these values, what people are willing to buy and sell. And so when we do an update, we divide the county into neighborhoods, because we don't want to compare property values in Centerville to property values in Dayton or property values in Vandalia. The old adage in the real estate industry, location, 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 well, that's true among assessors as well. So we divide the county up into neighborhoods, and we look at what has happened in those neighborhoods, or how the real estate market has responded in the past 3 years to determine an estimate of what people's homes would sell for in the current environment. So, the types of factors that come into play there, the same type of factor that would come into play in anybody trying to sell their home. The square footage, the condition of the home, how many bedrooms, how many baths, those types of things all come into consideration, and all are determined in the value. Ultimately is what's going on in the real estate market.
Sure, thank you. And Carl, is there anything that you would like to change in the auditor's office?
Well, we are a product of state law, and so whenever we are, the responsibilities that we do is dictated to us by the Ohio Revised Code and the state legislature. And there are times when the state legislature will pass laws and statutes that sometimes they get our input and sometimes they don't. And sometimes they put responsibilities on us with funding, and sometimes they don't. I think one thing that I've dealt with over my tenure there is the homestead exemption program has been a major program that we have promoted pretty widely in the office. The homestead exemption program provides a tax break to senior and disabled homeowners, a pretty significant tax break. It can be as much as $500, $600, $700, some communities $800 a year. We've been very aggressive in promoting that program, but the legislature at different times has changed the eligibility requirements. To me, it was a lot easier when when you reach the age of 65, and you own your own home, you're eligible for the homestead exemption. And we signed up 40,000 people the year they made that the criteria. We now have 45,000 homeowners taking advantage of that. But now, a few years later, then they changed and they put an income restriction on it. And so now we're dealing with people. You've got some people that with no income restriction in the program. You've got some people that have an income restriction. So there's things like that that happen in state law that we have to administer, and we have to follow the law. But that is one example. To me, it was a whole lot easier to administer. It was a whole lot easier to explain to people when it was you reach the age of 65 and you're eligible for the homestead exemption. There are other things that we've been asked to do that sometimes comes with funding and sometimes doesn't. But the mere fact this legislature has cut funding to local communities, county governments in particular, has been a burden for every county office, and the County Auditor's Office hasn't been exempt from that.
Thank you. And Carl, the Office of County Auditor is an elected position. Mm-hmm. Why is that better for the community than having the County Commission appoint the auditor?
I think it's critical. I think it's very important that the office be elected. I think it increases accountability, increases accessibility. I think the fact that I'm elected is one of the reasons why I spend a lot of time in the community, and I try to make my office as open and accessible as possible. And I think it's important for the community that person in that role with these varied responsibilities, that they're held accountable directly to the population, to the people. Rather than to some other elected official or some other office. And the other thing about it too is when I say I'm the county's chief fiscal officer, the county's chief assessor, well, that's not just for county government, that's for all the governments. The money that we distribute and the assessments that we do impact the other cities, the other townships, the other jurisdictions, and so on. I just don't serve county government. I'm serving the community as a whole and every jurisdiction in the county. So I think it's important that position continue to be elected, and that the person in that role continue to be held accountable to the public, and that the public has access to that person.
Thank you. And in closing, what would you like the voters of Montgomery County to remember about you as they go to the polls in November?
I think one of the things I want them to remember, again, is the years of experience I've had, the successes that we've had in the office. One of the things that have been a top priority for me is to make the office open and accessible and transparent. And we've won a couple of national awards the last 2 years from the National Association of Counties, Special Achievement Awards, for our efforts in civic engagement and public information. And I think that's important for an office like mine, that people know that they have accessibility to it and that it is transparent. That's been an important priority for me. We've got some major projects coming up. The next revaluation in 2020 I think is going to be extremely difficult given the status of the market. We've seen some improvements in the market, certainly in some areas, other areas not so much. We're putting a new financial system in place in the office. The skimmer issue that I talked about continues, and we've done a lot of work to protect consumers from the credit card skimmers on gas pumps. So I think having someone with my experience and my expertise and the background that I've had, this is a very critical time for county government. And I think it's important that someone with my experience and my qualifications is able to continue in that leadership role.
Thank you so much. Carl, thank you for your participation today, and good luck in your campaign.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
The goal of the League of Women Voters is to educate the voting public and strengthen our elective political process. We are nonpartisan, meaning that we never support or oppose any candidate or party. We encourage everyone to vote. There are several ways to cast your ballot. By absentee ballot. Every registered voter should have received an absentee ballot application from the Secretary of State in September. If you did not receive the absentee form, you can download one from the Secretary of State's website. You can also vote early at your Board of Elections beginning October 10th. And the polls open at 6:30 a.m. on Election Day, Tuesday, November 6th, and close at 7:30 p.m. Last but not least, the League would like to thank DATV for partnering with us once again to present these candidate interviews. They volunteer their time, expertise, and equipment to make this possible. Thanks for watching, and be sure to vote.
you.